digital business. And I look after the Africa Trade Gateway market-facing activities that looks after partners and the actual businesses that interact with the ATG ecosystem across the continent. And I'm happy to be here to kick off this interesting chapter with UBA Kenya. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne Rose. My name is Kenneth Ogbo. I work with Anne Rose Ngemu and UNUSA. I'm from Afreximbank and the HU Cairo, and my main role is to make sure that either buyers or sellers or logistics service providers, you find opportunities on the ecosystem, and we make sure that UBA Kenya help you succeed. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Over to you, Fad.
All right, thank you so much, UNUSA. My name is Fahad Sensua. I work with the HTG team stationed in the East African branch office. And my role is to make sure that our East African businesses will taken care of. And we'll be supporting and making sure that you get the best out of the ATG ecosystem. So I'm pleased to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fad. Amand, over to you, and then we give it over to the UBA Kenya staff to introduce themselves.
UNISA. So hello everyone, my name is Armand Yoka. I'm part of Afreximbank, sitting on the ATG team, most precisely on one of the solutions that we're gonna demo today, which is ATEX. Very excited to present this beautiful ecosystem to you all and looking forward to hearing your questions. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Amon. So, Catherine, over to you for quick introductions, and then we quickly start. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, UNICEF and the entire Afrexim team on the call. Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of UBA Kenya, it gives us great pleasure to welcome you all today to this business webinar series. My name is Catherine Awar, and I'm the head of marketing and corporate communication at UBA Kenya. So we want to sincerely thank you all for taking time to be with us during this series. I'd like to welcome the UBA team that will be taking us through this session, just for you to familiarize yourselves. And then we start off the session. So Patrick, please introduce yourself if you're on this call. Patrick Karume.
Good morning and good afternoon. My name is Patrick Karume. I sit at UBA Kenya in the Trade Finance Department. Happy to be on this call and look forward to an interactive session.
Thank you, Patrick. Betty, please introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Betty Morethi, and I sit in the trade finance space with Mr. Patrick. So happy to have all of you here, and we are delighted to be onboarded on this webinar today. And we look forward to a very insightful conversation, and we are looking forward to the fruits that will be born after this call. Thank you very much.
Okay, so thank you, Betty. I think you'll get to know the rest of the team as we proceed. So without much ado, we'd like to start off, and we are welcoming you once again to this webinar session that is being co-hosted between UBA Kenya and Afreximbank. And just a few introduction notes to give context onto the webinar. So today our webinar is focused a lot on trade and cross-border trade. And as you all know, our continent, Africa, is changing. It's actually becoming one of the largest trading blocs in the world. But even as it becomes a large bloc, the questions we keep asking ourselves as entrepreneurs, as partners, as investors, is we are not doing what we are not still seeing, the volumes of trades that we would want to see. So today's session really does take the opportunity to answer some of these questions that you may have, whether you're an entrepreneur, a partner, a customer of the bank, an investor, or you just want to understand what exactly is happening so that you can start off. This is the session, and the session is really designed to speak to your needs. We did get some of the insights in terms of what people would want to hear. So we have designed the session to be very practical. During the session, we will be having breakout rooms, and our colleagues will take us through it. So stay tuned. This will be a very practical webinar session, and we really thank everyone from across Africa who has joined in. So just a few housekeeping points. Let's keep our microphones on mute. And should you have any question, please post it on the chat and we will be able to respond to it. So I'd like to invite our first speaker, who will be Mr. Patrick Karume, our Senior Manager of Trade. And Patrick works closely with the business teams across multiple sectors. And today he'll share why Africa presents one of the greatest opportunities for Kenyan businesses and how we as UBA will be helping you, our customers and partners, to just trade beyond borders. So please join me in welcoming Patrick. Thank you. Patrick, over to you.
Oh, thank you, Catherine. Thank you for that introduction. Once again, I want to thank everyone for joining this call. A special mention to the French Public Investment Bank and the Organization of Women in Trade, OWIT. I want to start my presentation with a very simple question. How many businesses here are looking to grow beyond Kenya? Whether you're importing raw materials, exporting finished goods, exploring new markets for the first time, Africa presents one of the biggest business opportunities of our generation. You can go to slide number 3. Just to bring context to the story or the numbers in the story. Today, Africa has a combined GDP of 3.4 trillion USD, a market of 1.4 billion people. And through the African Continental Free Trade Area, businesses now have access to the world's largest free trade area by number of participating countries. We are looking at a projected increase of 450 billion USD. This is with a full capacity. For Kenyan business, this means one thing. Your next customer does not have to be from Nairobi. They could be in Lagos, they could be in Accra, they could be in Dar es Salaam. However, while the opportunities are enormous, we understand that trading across border is not always easy. Some of the challenges that we get from our customers, the many ask, how do I find a genuine buyer? How do I know the same? We stay on the same slide. Yeah, these are the challenges that we are facing. They are presented by our customers. How do I know if a supplier can be trusted? How do I finance my imports? How do I receive payment safely? And how do I navigate the regulations across multiple African markets. These are real challenges that present many businesses from expanding beyond Kenya. So at UBA, we believe businesses should spend more time growing and less time worrying about the complexities of trade. That is why we position ourselves as a more than a bank. We are your trade growth partner. Our strength begins with our footprint. UBA operates in 20 African countries with a presence in the UK, the US, France, and the UAE, giving businesses access to one trusted banking partner across the trade corridors. Beyond our footprint, we provide financial solutions that businesses need to trade with confidence. So some of the solutions that we give to the importers, we have letters of credit, import financing, we do shipping guarantees, custom and performance bonds, supplier payment solutions, talking about PAPs. We're also looking at Africash. We give very competitive Forex solutions. And for exporters, we do export letters of credit, invoice discounting, pre and post shipment financing, payment solutions, insurance premium financing, and working capital facilities. These solutions help businesses manage cash flows, reduce risk, and complete transactions with greater confidence. But banking alone is no longer enough. Today's business also need access to market. This is why the ATG comes in. Through our partnership with Afreximbank, we are introducing customers to a digital platform that connects businesses with verified buyers and suppliers across Africa and beyond. Instead of spending months of trying to identify reliable trading partners, businesses can leverage the platform to discover opportunities, conduct due diligence, access market intelligence, and begin trading with greater confidence. When this is combined with UBA's trade solution, PAP's payment capabilities, and our extensive banking network, customers have access to an end-to-end ecosystem that supports every stage of their trade journey. Today's webinar is designed to help you understand how these opportunities work in practice. You'll hear directly from Afreximbank and how the ATG is transforming intra-African trade. I encourage you to listen carefully because this journey demonstrates what is possible when business combine the right market access with the right financial partner. As UBA Kenya, our commitment is simple. Because we believe the future of African trade will be built by businesses that are willing to look beyond their borders, we are ready to walk that journey with you. At this juncture, I want to give a chance to Jules, one of our partners in French Public Investment Bank.
Thank you, Patrick. Can everybody see me? Can everybody hear me well?
We can
Yes?
hear you. Go ahead. Yeah.
Great. First of all, many thanks to our good friends from UBA Kenya, Patrick, Catherine. It's really a pleasure to be part of this discussion. Maybe some of you have heard about who we are and what we do, the French Public Investment Bank, also known as BPI France. But let me give you a snapshot of what we do and how we can work together, and how you can reach out to us really, and how together with the UBA, with whom we're partnering at the moment, we can really foster and make very interesting and promising partnerships happen, and deals between French businesses that we represent and that we promote, and local businesses in Africa. So I'll just take a couple of minutes. So some of you may have heard that we've organized the Africa Forward Summit that took place in Nairobi on May 11th. The business side of the summit we did organize, and we had very substantial discussions on this occasion with the UBA and many local companies. So what we do is we are a state-owned entity, the French Public Investment Bank. We're fully owned by the French state, and we support businesses in France, about 200,000 clients that we have across their whole growth journey, from mid-caps, SMEs, to large caps, big corporations. We support everyone. We're the bank of entrepreneurs. But in Africa, we have a different role. We do something a bit different that is still, supporting the French businesses, of course. But what we do essentially is that we connect local companies with French companies, and then whenever needed, we provide financing. So we finance contracts, and then we provide a wide-ranging set of financial solutions as a bank. And we work together with local banks, with banks such as UBA, to make those deals happen and make them possible. So we have for that, I'm calling you today from the Nairobi office, where we cover the whole of East Africa, as well as Southern Africa, Central Africa, and the Indian Ocean. But we also have other colleagues in West Africa, in Dakar, in Abidjan, and in North Africa as well, where we cover the whole of Africa. And we've been doing so for a few years now. We have quite a big footprint, and we have about, as we speak, an outstanding portfolio of close to 2 billion euros of contract finance and so on. And so we work together with local banks, local partners, local companies to make that happen. So really my message to you today is come see us, come meet us, reach out to us, and we'll actually put our email addresses, and if need be, a presentation in the chat, so that we can discuss potential collaboration between your company, but also your bank, your financial investment vehicle, whatever you have, and whatever you do, come see us. We can discuss, and then we can potentially explore a partnership and a solution together, depending on your needs, together with UBA. So that's really what we do, and that's my message to you, to all of you today. And thanks so much to Patrick and Catherine for giving us the opportunity to be part of this webinar. And we very much look forward to the next steps and to working together. Over to you, Patrick. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jules, and thank you for joining us. I also want to recognize the presence of DHL in this room. I'm sure we will engage further in the breakout room. I want to pass over the mic to Catherine for the rest of the program.
Okay, thank you very much, Patrick, and thank you very much, Jules, for that introduction. I think the conversations showcase what opportunities are available within this ecosystem. So, so that we don't waste much more time, I'd like to now hand over the session to Afreximbank so that they can also tell us and really do demonstrate what is the Africa Trade Gateway platform and how can it be of benefit to you, to your business. What more can you learn today? We've said The journey to Africa starts today. Yunusa, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Catherine. And thank you, Patrick and Jules, for first Patrick's presentation and Jules' message to us. So yeah, I would like to call on our head of business, Ms. Rose Ngemu, to walk us through the Africa Trade Gateway and how it can be used as a tool to help us. Over to you, Ms. Rose.
Thank you, Eunice, and again, good morning to you all. Before I get into the actual presentation of the Africa Trade Gateway, first is to just give a very high-level overview of who Afreximbank is and what we do. So we are an MDB that is set up by the African member states. And our mandate is simple: to promote, facilitate, and finance trade in Africa and out of Africa. And so by doing that, we do not exist to run a competition between ourselves and local banks, which is why we partner with local banks in anything that we do, because our simple goal is to ensure that we give businesses the power to trade, whether we are facilitating, financing, or promoting trade. So, and to achieve that goal, we have several initiatives, programs within the bank that, of course, can take almost an entire week to walk you through, which is why partners like UBA also help us to drive the message in terms of what is accessible to businesses across all the 54 member states in terms of really getting the actual power to trade. Coming down to the Africa Trade Gateway, the bank has, since its establishment over 30 years ago, been facilitating, promoting, and financing trade across the continent. And as we get into the digital space, and we all know what this means in terms of a revolution that is happening, has been happening since the 2000s and is still ongoing, we cannot really avoid the discussion of how businesses can really leverage digital to move beyond what has been achieved. And so with that, the bank took a look at how we can intervene and provide a secure platform through which businesses can be facilitated, financed, and promoted to access opportunities across the continent. So moving on to the first slide of this presentation to speak specifically about the ATG, this already has been covered by the UBA team, which again, as you can see, the minds are aligned in terms of the opportunity that exists, that all of us have a chance to partake to this opportunity. And secondly, the limitations of that can prevent any business from any member state accessing that opportunity has also been clearly outlined, which, like you saw in Patrick's presentation, speaks to market access, fragmented payments that end up being so expensive, slow, delays, high costs of logistics and financing, market information, compliance, and we end up just having the fragmented markets. So while we celebrate the AfCFTA as the broadest economic vision for the continent, we have a really great economic vision, but as a collective of all actors in trade, we have actions to do. And the action is starting from what Afreximbank has done to lay the backbone in terms of beginning this journey of accessing these opportunities. So from where we sit as a bank, we see the Africa Trade Gateway not just as a digital platform, but really a backbone that has been put in place to translate the AfCFTA broad vision, economic vision, into actual realities where businesses can really speak to the opportunities that they've been able to tap and translate into actual gains for the business, for their businesses. Moving on, we are not speaking about a vision, we are speaking about a reality that we've already started transforming and facilitating and financing. And so the numbers on the screen are numbers that are speaking to actual activity that is happening through this ecosystem within East Africa. So the request for quotations for products coming out of East Africa, demand in Kenya, demand in Tanzania, and the rest of East African countries, as well as the number of buyers, sellers, importers, exporters, producers who have already onboarded in Kenya, the specific products that are being sought for in terms of by companies in Kenya that are looking for to diversify their supplier base, and also the export opportunity that exists for companies that are sitting within the East African region. So unlike the first slide that was talking about statistics, this slide talks about actual numbers that are actually sitting with us, running through the Africa Trade Gateway, and really showing us that it's possible if we come together as actors in trade to really make this AFCFTA economic vision a reality. And so moving on to just take a deep now understanding of how that reality is being done to translate those numbers. For us, looking at the challenges, and our management, our executive management believes that any challenge that is there related to financing, promoting, and financing trade, Afreximbank always comes in to partner with our local institutions to ensure that we provide a solution. And so what for us this gateway means is an ability for us to power trade, and not just to power trade, but to pass that power to businesses. And so to achieve that, we are then looking at, if you look at what does power to trade for a business really means, even before I get into the actual tools, for us, it means giving every African business that is ready to take advantage of the AFCFTA opportunity to access contracts and opportunities across the continent, and to ensure that those businesses are not blocked by absence of capital or absence of credit, but they are actually blocked by their ability to produce. And so banks are there to ensure that they support these entities. So lack of credit should then not be the reason why business that is producing and is able to export or import should experience. Then there's also the issue of the infrastructure. So we know there are challenges with the logistics. So we have ports, roads, energy, logistics, because we know that trade does not just move on systems or what we say, but this infrastructure is very critical. And like I mentioned at the start, there are many other initiatives in the bank that are addressing these underlying infrastructural issues. But at the ATG level, what we are also then doing is beyond working with banks, we are working with logistics partners to ensure that your trade across the continent should not be really stopped entirely because of a logistic issue that we can begin to address. Then the other thing that is also important for businesses from where we sit to power trade is then the policy and institutions that work. Again, we have initiatives across the bank that deal with that and or that, looking at how they work with customs authorities across the continent, how they facilitate a single transit guarantee across the continent, things to do with insurance. So we have so many other initiatives that are going to back this trade gateway opportunity to ensure that what you might imagine as a business cannot be addressed. There are also then those other initiatives that are unlocking those barriers to make it possible. And then the other thing is skills and knowledge. So the ability for traders, producers, innovators across the continent to join up with us and speak to some of these challenges. And I will be able to demonstrate on the ATG how we are bringing in these components so that we can ensure that the skills and knowledge are passed on to the businesses. And then the core thing that we are speaking about today is the technology piece that enables us to connect businesses to markets beyond their borders, allow them to trade smart, safe transactions. And so businesses then should not be stopped from getting to other markets purely because of these barriers, but they should really be stopped by the quality of what they are producing. So now looking at how all that is actualized within the trade gateway, we've put in what we call foundational pillars for the gateway. And the first foundational pillar is the most important one that looks at how do we ensure that everyone coming to the gateway is safe to trade with. And that speaks to the due diligence that we do. So first and foremost, we partner with banks, we partner with trade supporting institutions, and we also speak directly with businesses. Why? Because we want to ensure that every business that we bring on board, as much as we do the know your customer and due diligence before we onboard them, we also have on-ground support that validates these businesses. So across Africa, we work with most of the banks, and I'll be able to show that. Good thing is for UBA is in several African countries, and we are working with them in all the countries. So once a business is ready to be onboarded, we start off by looking at your KYC and due diligence. And we do not really make it a barrier for you to get into the ecosystem. We take the basics that any bank will also ask you when you're opening a bank account. So that your company details, your certificate of registration, which we pick up that and start your journey towards building your due diligence trust profile within what we call Mansa, and it will be demonstrated today. So then once we get that done and you have an account created, the next question becomes, how do I actually start benefiting or tapping into these opportunities that are being spoken about? And that's where the Africa Trade Exchange comes in, what we call the ETEX, which will also be demonstrated today, that then sets up your buyer-seller profile. And if you're a seller, it gives you an opportunity to set up your seller profile, upload your product catalog, and you're trained on how to respond to requests for quotes from buyers across Africa and out of Africa. On the buyer side, you're set up as a buyer, and you can also be set up as both buyer and seller, because we understand that businesses also import to be able to produce for export. So all that happens within the Africa Trade Exchange. Within the trade exchange is also where we ensure that that profile helps you then to get connected with a buyer if you're selling, or a supplier if you're importing. And then we also have a support layer of business to business experts who are familiar with international trade, to make sure that if you have an opportunity that for instance, if you're sourcing fertilizer, then you're not just left to a digital ecosystem, but you're actually supported all through to connecting with a supplier of your choice, supported with contracting, and then the most important piece, supported to really find out which is your optimal payment mechanism. And that's where then the banks become very important, because some companies will decide to pay from their own liquidity. Some will use a guarantee solutions. Some will use trade finance instruments like LCs. And so at that moment, then because the banks are part of what we are working with, they will now be able to work with us and ensure that a financing solution that suits that particular trade is tailored for you, for your buyer specifically. And so from a supplier perspective, you have the comfort that once you ship the goods, then you will not be left chasing for payments. And you, the supplier, you are guaranteed that there's performance. There's a performance guarantee from the supplier side over and above the contract, because you have the buyer bank supporting the issuance of the instrument, and you are also being supported to ensure that your contracting process between you and the buyer is secured. And we have a number of instruments that at that point we bring on board. So I've just mentioned the LC route, I've mentioned the local financing that can be direct with the local bank. In some cases where the the value of the transaction is very high, we also co-partner with the local bank to facilitate that payment. So in essence, what I'm saying is all the activity that generates or comes out of the ETEX then feeds into the financing module that connects to banks. So if you look at what we have there on financing, what we are saying is that there we then bring in banks, we onboard the banks in this module that then provide the financing that is needed to progress the trade. So that is for companies that are looking at financing as an option for payment. Now, for companies that have their own liquidity and would like to pay in local currency, then we bring in the Pan-African payment and settlement system that has been implemented in a lot of banks across Africa. And I think at some point in the webinar, we can be able to show which banks are actually live, UBA being one of them. So that then enables you to sell across Africa and collect in local currency if you do not have any pressure on hard currency, and opens a completely new window for businesses. All that it happens because we are bringing on board the banks that are working with us on the financing route and on the payments leg as well. So those specific services are powered by different tech solutions, with ETEX, Mansa doing the due diligence, then the connect matching where we onboard the banks, and of course the financing and payments that is powered by the banks that are onboarded. Then we have another very interesting piece within the gateway. So once you're in, and you now need to look at what other markets are interesting for me. What are the regulations in those markets that I need to comply with, including the AFCFTA rules of origin? Then we have what we call the market intelligence, which is a trader that gives you that information and regulations. And if you actually need to dig deeper in terms of dedicated reports, we also then have our trade intelligence team that publishes clean reports and uploads them to this portal. So once you're onboarded, then you have access not just to the market, but you have the intelligence and the regulations to be able to make informed decisions about which markets you need to go into for which product. In the matching space, when Catherine opened, she mentioned a number of services. So I've only spoken about financing, but we also have the investment opportunities solution within the matching. We have freight and logistics, which is where we, like I mentioned at the start, we are looking at freight and logistics companies that can connect, we can work with to connect the dots and deal with the logistics cost challenges for trading across Africa. And then we also have a tender and contract opportunity that is run by a team that looks after supporting African countries that are looking to acquire big tenders across Africa and obtain financing to be able to execute those contract and tenders. So all that is facilitation that we are doing through the gateway. Now, when you put all those solutions together as tools, then you're now powering a complete ecosystem, which is what we are calling the Africa Trade Gateway, to specifically connect, provide power to trade to businesses, and be able to actually support those businesses to actualize those opportunities. So if we can move to the next slide. I just want to show where we are in the journey of connecting the businesses. So when I started, I indicated the opportunity that we have facilitated within East Africa, but across the continent, we have importers, exporters, producers, manufacturers, banks, logistics companies, export associations, and chambers of commerce that are working with us to make this ATG rollout a reality. Because, like I mentioned, technology is one piece, but the most important thing is to ensure that this community is actually running and each member of the community is benefiting from what we are talking about. And so far, we've been able to bring in parties from 45 African countries. We have 110 commercial banks that are working with us to facilitate their own clients, like UBA is facilitating today in terms of knowledge, financing, and payments. We have 45 trade associations that are also working with us. And so far, we've been able to verify over 50,000 businesses. These are businesses that have provided their KYC on the Mansa platform because they need their counterparties to look at them as trusted entities that they can do business with. Now, on the importer and exporter leg, where the Africa Trade Exchange is key as a trading platform, we've managed so far to onboard over 20,000 companies that are in import and export, and we've been able to generate over 4 billion of RFQs in the portal. And in terms of closed transactions that are being facilitated from start to end, like I explained, to close, we've been able to do 200 million by now, and we are growing. So that's why we believe this is an initiative that will translate into value for everyone who joins in across the continent. Next slide. So this is just a summary of the benefits on the member side. On the businesses side, it means that we want you to focus on what you do best, while we help you to find verified buyers, access the logistics and financing services, pay using multiple options, including local currency. And we want you to find that in one secure environment. So once you bank with a UBA in Kenya, we want you to just focus on your business and let UBA Kenya facilitate you to access all this. And that's why we are partnering with banks to work on the ATG rollout. This also then means that once you are a customer of a bank and you join the ATG, then you are facilitated to really outbeat your competition, because most of the challenges that are keeping businesses awake will in some way, in a big way, be supported through this partnership. And last but not least is the fact that we are now saying that we want to ensure that the issues of perception around businesses across Africa is addressed in a very practical way. So the issue of a company in Kenya worried about dealing with a company in Sierra Leone or Ghana or Nigeria needs to not be a barrier for a Kenyan company to trade with, because we then are going to the Nigerian side, Sierra Leone, and working with the banks there to do the same thing we are doing with UBA and bring their customers on board. So we reduce that friction and trust perception. I will not focus on the banks as much, because this webinar is really dedicated to the actual businesses. But this is just a summary of what the banks and other partners stand to gain. So what does all this mean for you from today? What it means is that if you're in the room and you're looking to start immediately, then from an export perspective, you have these opportunities. So this is coming out of real data that we are working with. We are not saying this is the total size of opportunity for Morocco, Tunisia. What we are saying is that we so far have gotten companies in Morocco and Tunisia that are looking for Kenyan coffee, and this is a value. So if you're sitting in the webinar today, then this could translate into an actual export for you if you're in the tea sector. Same thing if you're in the, if you're in the coffee sector. If you're in the tea sector, then this is what it means in terms of translating into an actual export opportunity. So to summarize, how do you join the ecosystem? And this will be demonstrated, simple steps. So we work with banks. So the first layer is we partner with banks, but this does not mean you cannot join directly. So if you are a member of UBA, a customer of UBA, a partner of UBA, anywhere across the continent, like I mentioned, UBA already took a strategic decision to work with us on the rollout of the ATG. And that means a lot to us because UBA is in several countries. So what it essentially means for you is that if you are a UBA Kenya customer only doing financing, going to UBA Kenya for financing solutions, what UBA is providing you is an opportunity to trade with all their customers across all their subsidiaries immediately when you join the ATG, because we are onboarding UBA customers across all the subsidiaries. And so with that contract, we have a very simple process. So once you go into UBA Kenya, they will provide you with a very simple form that you capture the information. The information comes to us for central onboarding. And then we have dedicated trainings, but we also have partner trainings like what we have today that enables you then to go through the process very quickly. Collect your KYC basic, put it on Mansa, it will be demonstrated, and then we immediately begin the journey of actually introducing you to either buyers or if you are supplying, connecting you. If you are looking to import, connecting you with verified suppliers across the continent and out of the continent. And then we then from there work with you to understand how you can use the insights. And if you really looking at expanding beyond just that one trade transaction, you're looking at how can Afreximbank and UBA support me to expand. Then we also now start capturing those needs and feeding in to the Afreximbank, broader Afreximbank for financing. So that is, in summary, is the ATG. I think if you don't remember anything else, just remember that is your single bridge to move beyond just going to a bank for financing to moving to UBA to expand your businesses beyond them giving you money and collecting money. Thank you very much. I will pause there and hand over to the moderators. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andros, for that wonderful presentation on what the Africa Trade Gateway is and how it will help businesses move forward. So yeah, without further ado, without wasting any time, I would like to call on Mr. Aman Yoka to walk us through the ATEX, the B2B e-commerce platform, and show us what it would look like from a buyer or seller perspective. Over to you, Mr. Aman. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Yunusa. Thank you very much, Anne-Rose, for the presentation of the ATG. The goal is now to look at how it looks like practically, because as Anne-Rose very well said, it's a gateway for growth. And that's the goal here, is to really impact international trade for African companies and to bring technology and digitalization in order to make that happen while still keeping in mind the reality of the market and understanding how Africa actually works. And when you put that together, you get to the African Trade Gateway. And so right now, I want us to focus on the ATEX side of things, which is the B2B component of the ATG, where you'll be able to find your new buyers, upload your products, grow your market with verified companies. And I think the verified element is core to what we're talking about here, because our ecosystem is as good as its safety, which is why we have Mansa, and which is why every single company that is onboarding onto ATG and that you will be dealing with onto ATEX are verified companies. So now, as a seller trying to expand your market, the first step is to upload your product. And we try to make it as straightforward as possible. So this is the dashboard that you'll have access to as a supplier on ATEX, right? You'll be able to add new products. And here you have all the different information that you need in order to upload your products. So you'll have the category, the HS code. If you don't know what is the HS code of a product, you can find it through that small button right there. You have the brand name, which is the name that you're going to put for the name of your product, the unique number, product description. This is very important because that's what gives a bit of insights for the buyer that you're looking for. Anne-Rose mentioned the number of different buyers that we have in East Africa, but also across the continent and across the world. These buyers, we need to understand what is the product that you're exporting, right? So very important to put a description that gives some context to the companies that you'll be dealing with. You have the unit at which you will sell. So assuming that you sell in tons, then automatically the inventory will also adapt. So you'll be able to put the quantity that you have the ability to supply, but also the minimum order quantity that you can receive. So this way, on our side, we can block any request that does not match with your minimum order quantity, which is very important. As we know, in East Africa, you're dealing a lot with commodities. We know that commodities fluctuate. The prices change a lot. So you have the option of putting a fixed price, putting a price range if you feel like your products always are within bounds of a minimum and maximum price, or even if you want to have full confidentiality and because of the volatility of the price, you never really know, you are able to put a price upon request, which means that you're only sharing the price once you actually receive the request. Obviously, you have the image that you're going to see, and then the additional documentation. We've talked about the AFCTA and the intra-Africa trade. You know the importance of documentation, of certificate of origins. So the more documentation you put as you upload the product, the better, because we can avoid any type of back and forth when trying to trade and trying to close transaction, which is the reason we're here. And then additional input in order to be able to find your product as being typed online. One element that I want to precise for all suppliers, we protect you. What I mean by we protect you, every single request of buyers that we receive, we first review it. We make sure that yes, the client has access to financing, the client is ready to proceed. Once we know that the client is actually ready to progress, we approve the request, and only then, as a seller, you receive the demand. Which means that every demand that you actually receive on ATEX is a potential demand that you can actually close, which is a very important point for us, very important. Then you can track all of the quotation that you sent. So you can see where you stand. You can understand where if all of your quotes are being rejected, you can actually think, okay, maybe I'm above market right now. So you can try and adapt. You'll be able to see the buyer name, the product needed. So all the information that you need, because our goal is to promote transparency, is to support the trade. It's not to add some challenges and some hurdles. Reason why you have information about your counterparty. You also see the different opportunities that you are receiving. So on one part, the RFQ, so the request of the buyers that they made on their own, and on the other side, the inquiries, which is the request you receive based off the product that you have already uploaded onto ATEX. So that's the supplier side, right? But now, as we know, all sellers also potentially need their raw materials. So you need to import, or maybe you just want to know how it looks like for your counterparty, how it looks like for your buyers. And what you will see is as a buyer, you can add your own RFQ. And so here it's a mirror, right? You can see the product that you need, the quantity that you need, what packaging, what unit. See, you can see the same fields as the one on the sell side, and that's what we use to match buyers and sellers. We put the logistic preferences, so you have all the different Incoterms that you are looking for, the delivery date that the buyer will be looking for, which country do you want the product to arrive, which city, and the required shipping method. Is it going to be sea? Is it going to be air? Is it going to be rail? So you can actually choose it. Now we get to one of the core parts, the financing that Anne-Rose has mentioned. We know that financing is key. The lack of capital in international trade is real. We're trying to bridge this, and we're trying to do it in a way that is data-driven. The more we receive those type of requests, the more it's easy for us to size the financing needs that exist in Africa. And based on those financing requirements, you see you can put all the different type of financing that you look for. And UBA has tapped into I've talked about some of those financing solutions that exist, the currency you're looking for, what is the maximum budget per transaction, and you can even add some more details. Once we receive that financing request, what we do is we go back to the local banks. We go back to UBA, we say, look, this client came to us and they said that they need that financing. Do you have appetite? Let's support that client. If UBA can't, we are there to complement. On our side, we're just there as an additional partner. We provide additionality to the local banks in order to really unlock the financing for Kenya, but also for the rest of East Africa. And then you have the additional requirements, so the payment terms, in order to advance on that transaction. Like I said, once that is saved, we review it. We make sure that everything is in order. If we feel comfortable, then we approve it, and then it's being sent to you as a seller. And you know that the client that you're receiving is a verified client that has the financing in place. If the financing is not in place, we're going to work on the financing first, make sure that it's advancing properly, then approve it, and we'll be able to share it to the sellers. Now, we are talking about Kenya, so we're going to look at some of the tea products that we have. And as you can see, tea is one of the key products that we have onto the ATG. And once you upload your product, you'll be able to, as a buyer, they will be able to request for quote, and you're going to see the form that I've showed before, exactly the same one, including the financing. And there you have it. You have kind of that flow, and you'll be able to track your requests. You're going to be able to track the prices. And then finally, when it comes to the payment terms, we might step in depending on what is requested. Is it going to be a letter of credit? And Afreximbank can step in and do the confirmation, discounting of the LC that will be opened by the likes of UBA Kenya. Is it going to be a PAPS payment when we can actually do a local currency settlement? So once we get to that stage, we can then advance on the payment. Finally, as much as we promote intra-Africa trade, we are very conscious of the dynamic of today's trade. Our goal is to shift more and more towards intra-Africa trade, but we also play with international suppliers and international buyers, just because a lot of the tea that you export go outside of Africa. And so it's only natural for us to have international buyers that will be looking for Kenyan tea, for instance. So we also deal a lot with international players, international banks, international associations, in order to grow your market, grow your business. And our goal at the end of the day is to expand your growth. And each company that is joining the ecosystem has the chance of dealing with an account manager that is there to walk you through that process. You're not out there by yourself trying to figure out how it's working. You have someone that is there with you in order to support you at every step, in order to make sure that you close as many deals as possible on the ATG. So this is all for myself. Obviously very excited to go into the breakout rooms and to answer some of the questions. And yeah, I will leave the floor to the moderator, Yunusa, to take it from there. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you very much, Aman. That was a very good walkthrough of what the ATEX would look like from a buyer or seller point of view. So yeah, we have seen the marketplace. I think I'll call on Fahad now to show us how these verified buyers and sellers are actually verified or can be verified through Mansa. Over to you, Mr. Fahad. Thank you.
Thank you, Nisa. Allow me to share my screen quickly and run you through the verification. So, like we've been talking about trust, so Mansa gives us the trust layer in the ecosystem. That is the main goal why we have Mansa on the ecosystem. So this is the landing page. All right. So I'll use Afreximbank as an example. So for all the participants that are coming onto the ecosystem, we make sure that they go through a KYC process or a due diligence process to get all the details and make sure that this is a real business. It has real owners. It has real offices. So to give you that base of confidence that the businesses that you're going to engage with and start business relationships with are actually actual businesses. So in that process, the kind of information that we collect, and this happens before you move to the portion that Amo was actually showing you of, putting your goods onto the ecosystem. We first go through this KYC process. So the kind of information that we are looking at is in these 5 categories. We have what we call identification. This is where you'll find the name of the business. How is it registered? Is it a public entity? Is it a private, limited company? Their address, where is this business located? Who is the actual contact person that we can reach out to? Of course, for financial institutions, we look at quite a number of other things, but the unifying document or factor is company registration. So you need to be registered in Kenya. And of course, that comes with a certificate of registration or CR12 to give us more information about your business. We also look at the ownership and management, which also is contained in the CR12, which is a rich document. Give us all that information. Who are the shareholders? Who are the ultimate beneficial owners? Because this is very important information to make sure that we understand your business and how authentic the information you're providing is. Then we also look at business information to capture what exactly the business is doing. So in this case, this is a bank, and these are the products that they provide. We also look at the branch network, but that is for the financial institutions. Then we have a section on compliance information. So you might have had the topic of money laundering and compliance. So we are also looking at having clean businesses that are not engaging in money laundering. So there is a questionnaire that the businesses complete to assess how compliant they are. It's a yes or no, questionnaire, but it gives us a feeling of how compliant you are with the AML regulations in Kenya. And lastly is financial information, which is not mandatory for SMEs and corporates. But in all this, what we are trying to do is to make sure that you are a credible business, that you're coming onto the ecosystem with a real business ready to trade, such that the other businesses or participants on the ecosystem can look at your profile and look at your goods and look at your services with confidence as a base that this is a real business that I can deal with, that I can trade with. So in terms of a verification of this information, we deal with the registries across the continent to make sure that the information that we are looking at is actually the same information that is at the registry, in this case for Kenya BRS. And then we also do annual reviews on the information because businesses are going concern. There will always be changes in the information. There will be changes in management. So we make sure that on an annual basis we review the information and reach out to the contact people to give us the latest information, such that all the participants on the ecosystem are looking at up-to-date information to support with making a decision based off information that is current. I'll stop here, and also I'll be available to continue the discussion and answer any questions that will arise. Over to you, Unisa. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fad. It's good to know that our buyers and sellers on the ATEX are verified, as it gives traders peace of mind to deal. So quickly, I'll call on Kenneth to give us a brief success story, probably about 2 or 3 minutes, just to see actual use cases on the ecosystem. Kenneth, over to you.
Thank you very much, Unisa, and thank you, colleague, for this very excellent presentation that is actually showcasing how Africa is really moving quickly via digital. I'm just going to really briefly talk about how we are succeeding on the ecosystem and just show you very specifically 1 or 2 cases where we have customers coming in through their banks such as UBA, and making sure that they succeed on the ecosystem. We have a very specific one in East Africa, Tanzania, where a customer was also introduced by a bank, and that customer is called Mijugu Mines, and they were able to secure $30 million in terms of trade financing via their bank that was also on ATG, and they were able to bring in more than 6,000 metric tons of fertilizer in less than 3 months. And we were able, as Afreximbank, to help them secure first that supply via the ecosystem, and then we refer them back to their local bank that was able to issue the LC, and Afreximbank was able to confirm and discount the letter of credit, which helped Mijugu Mines to really scale their imports, strengthen their partnerships globally, and improve their supply chain efficiency. This is just one of the cases that we have on the ecosystem. I will just maybe give another one that is really the latest one that we have this week. It was in Ethiopia. We have also one of the company that was an SME that was also introduced to us, and that SME was able to be connected to partners in China, and they were able to import goods. And the good was an amount of $7 million, and it was sunflower oil that was refined. They imported it to Ethiopia, and we made sure that they were matchmaked, and we facilitated the process from matchmaking them with the supplier, making sure that the invoice is perfect, and making sure that the banks that is supporting them in Ethiopia is able to issue a letter of credit, and Afreximbank was able to confirm that. The whole process took a big maximum of 4 months, and we are sure that with Kenyan counterparties, given that the regulation is quite perfect in Kenya, we will be able to, as soon as possible, start dealing, making sure that we make sure you are the next one that is succeeding on the ecosystem. So as soon as we finish this webinar, please register or reach out to Betty or the UBA Kenya team or any other relationship manager that you have direct access to have your account created as soon as possible to start tapping into this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kenneth. I think with that, I'll pass the mic back to Kenya with Catherine. So Catherine, over to you. Thank you very much, everybody.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Kenneth. Thank you very much, Fahad. Thank you very much, Amand, for taking us through what the platform actually has in store and how our customers can benefit and what we as the bank, our role would be. So I hope people have gotten some information about this. I know there's a lot of questions on the chat that will need some response. I think we will directly now just go into that because of the interest of time. At this moment, allow me to just acknowledge the presence of our MD on this call, Miss Mary Mulili, and she'll be speaking to us at the end of this call. But just to take us through some of the questions, I think we have a question from Horo Pius. who's asking us about excellent presentation. What's your call to action to AFCFTA traders for letters of credit, PAPs, and invoice? I think this has been discussed in detail with the presentation of the teams, just taking us through the customer journeys and what opportunities are available. Pius, I hope this has given you comfort in terms of better understanding. Just for the sake of all listeners, this is just the beginning. We will be having several sessions, and we encourage you to let us know what more would you like us to expand. So this is just a beginning to let you know that there's this platform, but we would want to support you more. And along the way, we will also look at structuring different conversations for different value chains so that it's easy for people to know how they can be supported. There's also a question from Anne. And Anne, thank you. You're giving us your contacts for the BPI France, who are our partners as well. And they'll be coming in, and we will host different sessions and give you more information on what more we can do together with yourselves and BPI. There's a question from Chrysanthus. Thank you for acknowledging the presentations. And he talks about needing help with connecting companies in Africa and France. Chrysanthus, we will reach out to you on this so that we pick up the conversation. Thank you. We also have a comment from Pena. What role do you see chambers of commerce playing in connecting businesses to Afreximbank's trade finance programs in DRC? And we thank our partners, Congolese Chamber of Commerce, for being in this call. I think you've seen a lot of comments, presentation from the Afreximbank team specific to the role the associations and chambers of commerce actually have in this platform. You're a significant partner. And so I'd like to maybe pause and let Rose give us a comment as regards the question and the role of chambers of commerce in regards to the platform. And Rose, over to you.
Thank you, Catherine. So in terms of how we work with partners, like I mentioned in my presentation, we also work with chambers of commerce that then become the conduits of passing the information to their members and working with us to do the onboarding. What is good is that if the Chamber of Commerce can work with a local bank, for instance, if you have a UBA subsidiary in Congo, then it becomes a very good forum where we can now do a joint, what we call a joint activation between the chamber, the local bank, and ourselves. Because like I said, businesses don't just want to come to the platform, they want to register and be facilitated to trade. So the Congolese chamber, we are happy to work with you directly and do the actual activation with yourself and a local bank, preferably, of course. If UBA is there, we can easily work with you and do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne Rose, for the response, and I hope this gives more insight. We are posting a form on the chat from UBA for any follow-up conversations that any of us on this call would like to have. Please submit your requests through the form that I've posted on the chat, and we'll be able to reach out to you. There is a question, I think Anne Rose already responded. There was a question around what fees one needs to pay as you join the platform. And it has been responded to that UBA for now has catered for this fee. And so that is why we are encouraging you to be onboarded as we look to expanding and ensuring that our Kenyan businesses are taken beyond Kenya. So take advantage of this at this moment because it showcases our commitment to you, entrepreneurs, that we want you to take your businesses beyond the Kenyan borders. Okay. So we also have a comment from just Mosen, and Mosen is asking, give the market information. Do you give market information insights pertaining to the product selectively, depending with the customers in exports, and also market product advisory services? Yunusa, is there someone who would like to respond to this specifically?
Catherine, I can respond to that. I responded to the chat to just let the audience know that through the trade intelligence, what we call trader, we have an entire unit behind that, an entire division that looks at trade intelligence that includes trade advisory. So yes, we can. So please, if you're interested at that, I think Kenneth has dropped his email on the chat. Just send us your direct request to Kenneth and the team will get in touch with you. While I have the mic, I can also speak about how do we access credit with Afreximbank. As I mentioned in my opening presentation, we work with local banks and our role is not to displace the local banks. So the request will come through a UBA. And if UBA, for instance, or your local bank is not able to meet your credit requirement on their own, or for some reason they need the backing of Afreximbank, then we will work with them to make sure that we give you a solution, a credit financing solution that meets your needs. We also do direct, but in that case, you will still need to have a local collection bank with a UBA or any other bank in the market, because like I said, we are not a commercial bank. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Andros, for that response. I hope, Mosen, that clarifies. We've seen Joy, a service provider. It's interesting that we are noting service as an export. It's not just about goods. So really, Joy, you're in the right space. Please, our team from UBA have dropped their email, Betty Muridi. So please, should you want to engage, just pick up Betty's email from the chat. Frederick Nundu, you'd like to join EdTech on ATG. Our team will be reaching out to you. Ms. Penina Mutinda, you're asking, does Afrexim have dedicated programs to support value addition and exports of product made in DRC? I think this was responded to specifically on how Afrexim as well as UBA works with the Chambers of Commerce, and we will be picking up this conversation. Kenneth has also submitted his email, so please let's engage. Naomi, thank you for your presentation. It was very informative. We appreciate. How do we access credit with Afreximbank? Frederick, I think this has been responded to. Yunusa has also put it in the comment that please, if you have any queries, please direct your emails at onboarding.atg.africa. Yunusa, please reconfirm that email. Mosen is asking, let's say I wanted to access a credit facility to aid my export transaction from the bank. Then the bank asked me for a collateral. Are you in a position to issue an instrument for comfort as an alternative for collateral? Can it suffice? I think on issues around collateral, which is very, very relevant, Patrick, you can maybe give a comment, and then we will also open it up to Afrexim to give that response. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. We had put the response on the chat. So we have partnered with we have partners that we work with to take care of this collateral requirement. We have AGF, we also have AFTCA, who come through for the collateral requirement. And this is the requirement for you to access the instruments that you need to be supported on for your trade.
Thank you, Patrick. Is there any other comment from the Afrexim team that would need to be responded to?
Just to add on to what Patrick said, like I mentioned, we also have other programs where we partner with local banks. And I know across UBA, we have so many other initiatives that support that requirement. So if there's a need coming through UBA Kenya, then it will be looked at under that partner program for other initiatives.
Thank you, and Rose. I think there's a comment that was coming from Mohsen, which has been responded to by Betty. We really want to thank you all for the questions. And before we close, I'd like to call our MD, Miss Mary Mulili, to please give her comments just based on the session. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I've been following up the conversations with all of you today. And I must say it was a very engaging session. Thank you, Afrexim and the UBA team. It's a conversation that we are going to continue carrying on, because we can't keep on talking about these initiatives like after. And I like what one of the participants wrote there. What is the call to action on these after conversations? We know Africa, as is, constitutes one of the largest markets. The thing that we've done is we've not traded with each other. And all these platforms that have been put together, both by Afrexim and UBA, is to enable you identify the market, work with the logistics partners. There's some noise somewhere. Work with the logistics partners, get bank financing to be able to drive that ambition. Over and above that, as UBA, we've also partnered with PAPS to also ensure that you get your money once you do the trade. There are some of the markets we know they have they are dollar illiquid, but also we are able to bring back your money in the local currency based on the price tag that you did. So we welcome you to keep on working with us, engage the teams for UBA that we've given the contacts on the chat, and we'll make this more regular. So at least we can really action in terms of this, making this Africa trade a reality. So everybody is calling for everybody to play their part and do it very well. So at least we can be able to tap into this market. Thank you. And back to you, Catherine.
Thank you very much, Mary, for giving us those remarks and the assurance to all who are on this call that the commitment does not end today. It is just a beginning of the various conversations together with our partner, Afreximbank, that there is more ahead. And we sincerely would like to thank everyone who joined this call, that we want to do more. I know because of time, we are limited. However, we'll be opening up different conversations through different avenues. We will also be sending you just the link through the registered emails so that you share with us what more you'd like, so that it will enable us to structure more conversations ahead. So before I close, I think it will be honor to just also get a closing remark from our partner, Afrexim, and Rose, just to give us a closing remark before we end the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine, and thank you, CEO, for making time to join Mine is to just reiterate what the CEO has said, for us to make a difference in the gap that we see between Africans trading amongst themselves that has remained way below 20%. Is really each one of us to play a role. So UBA has done their part, we've done our part, and we continue doing that. And so today we are calling on the actual actors in trade who are businesses to confidently fill their part by joining us to make sure that we translate all this potential that we speak about into real opportunities. And so we look forward to having further discussions with yourselves, and also look forward to really supporting the UBA team to ensure that all the Kenyan businesses that bank with UBA become the first ambassadors of successful AFCFTA implementation. Thank you very much, and back to you, Catherine.
Thank you, and Rose, for the closing remarks and for just taking us through this session. It was timely, and it's being said that there's no better time to be in Africa than now. And so we are bringing this home. And as UBA, we would like to ensure that we remain your trade partner throughout the continent. We have our colleagues on this call from across Africa, Zambia, Mozambique, Uganda. They're all on this call, and they're listening, and they're ready to be your partner when you're ready. So we'll be reaching out to all of you through the emails you registered with. Please give us your feedback. Let us know what else you need support in. Peter Kariuki, please mute. We'll be reaching out to all of you with a thank you and appreciation note. So thank you very much, Asante Sana, for all partners. If we didn't mention you, please know we hold you esteem either way. Thank you very much to you, our SMEs, because this was your session. We appreciate you. Thank you very much. You may
Thank
leave.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.